What's up, YouTube? This your boy, Civil Wolf with Civil Wolf TV. I'm back with another banger, part 5, with uncut conversation with ex-hitman, blood member, OG Nitty. Before we get into that, y'all, remember, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And for the young people, keep in mind also, it's not to be glorified, this content we give you, but for you to learn something from it. Now, without no further introduction, let's get right into it. OG Nitty. Nitty, what's going on, baby?
What's going on, YouTube? What's going on, YouTube family? As always, I start like I always have. I would like to make sure y'all join with me on my campaign to free my little brothers, Porky and Perky, two real bloods doing real blood things. Without further ado, I'm back to answer some questions for y'all now.
Whoa, love. It's Rose, man. Yeah, I'll be your host today. You know what I mean? Sitting here with some real G's for real. And we picked out some questions here from the YouTube joint for the comments. Yeah, we want to get back and get into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got my guy here, Chris G22. On the rep, where he say Frank needs 20 more years. What you say about that?
Well, I'm sure this state's attorney or police officer would like to see me in bondage again for 20 years, for he can secure jobs for his family, for his children and grandchildren. So I'm sure he would, you know, but tell him like all wishes, he wished upon a star.
Right.
Right. So yeah. Next question.
Yeah. Good way to answer that. Yeah, okay. Well, we got one right here. My man, what is it?
We can go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. My fault. That's how to get that. Maybe he can apply. I mean, every time I think of this guy saying, hey, man, because what this guy's saying, he need to be locked up for 20 years. And to that I say, well, hopefully he can apply to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I mean, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna be granted. But I mean, hell, who am I to kill his dream?
Right.
So okay, next question.
Okay, we got somebody right here with Lamont Dollar 152. He said, keep your head up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'm not saying thanks.
Messing with the channel and the movement.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, we got one right here. Mr. Limrod, 82. Mr. Limrod, he said, monsters create monsters. Same thing that dude Black did to you.
Absolutely.
How you feel about that, bro?
I mean, it's the truth.
Right.
I can't feel like a whole lot of ways, or I definitely can't be offended by somebody speaking the truth. He made me who I was,
Okay.
right? But although I don't glorify that, and I really want the young people to understand this, I don't glorify it. But outside of the people's lives that I changed by my actions, I wouldn't change anything about myself. Right? Some people and I might be skipping ahead to another question, but I think I can address this one and possibly another question was something that my publicist told me that was in one of the comments. She said that I should address. Now, I really want to talk to people about this fairy tale they have about prison.
Right.
Like, okay, you take somebody and you put him in around the most vicious, the most lying, the most cunning, the most vile people that you know, at least to that state, and to at least somebody have agreed with them. Okay. But yet they say, man, he went in there and he ain't learned nothing. Now, this is why I say that I tell those people to stay tuned because you know my story, you know my story, but I tell them to stay tuned. But this is what I ask people. If I throw you into a pit of snakes and the only way that you could survive was to mimic what was in there or be very careful of what you mimicked and use that to a strength. I ask these people, would they deserve another 20 years? You know, would they, you know, I've heard stories about mothers killing people. I'm talking about like no gun, no weapon, bludgeon them to death, right? Because somebody tried to harm her child. Or somebody tried to deprive her of her right to choose. And so she took their life. And you gotta ask people, they say, is she wrong? See, I live by a law of reality. You know, I'm forced to live by the laws that govern our state and this country. Right. But I live by a law of reality, right? And when you say things like he didn't learn anything, well, first and foremost, you would have had to have known me in order to have made that statement prior to me going to prison.
That's fact.
Yeah, but they think they sound smart when they say these things, and they think they sound intelligent. And no, and I'm not offended. I don't want y'all to think that. I'm not offended, and I say keep your comments coming because you are entitled to your opinion.
That's reality, like you said.
Right, but I live by a law of reality.
That's not reality.
Right, it's not reality to think that. Right, you didn't know me prior to this, but on top of that, you say, hey, I'm gonna throw him into what society has called the worst of the worst. That's what they call it. And yet say, man, he didn't come out, you know, President Obama. Something wrong with that guy. Are you living a fantasy? Or am I living by a law of reality? Now, do I think that the world should be, or even the state should be without laws? Hell no. It would be anarchy. I believe that many of the laws that's in place should be in place to maintain the citizens, you know, of that state. However, I believe they should be enforced equally. And that's not what's happening. So when people say stuff like, he hasn't learned anything, this and that, before you make that statement, think about it. Don't. I can't even say before you say it, do your research, because you still wouldn't do you any justice. So I just say, think about it, and don't. Next question.
Yeah, man, I agree with you on that one, man. Yeah, man, I got some questions of my own, too, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, man, like you said, when your time in there and stuff, like, who you, like, run into some known people, some known, like, even Kingpin or some people that ran.
I ran into, like I said, on one of the episodes. I forget what episode, but I ran into a lot of my childhood heroes, especially when I was introduced to the game. But believe it or not, many of these guys, many of these people, they were very educated and very well spoken. And so I didn't look at them as saying, oh, he a nerd for real. I said, wow, man, he an intellectual and he's street dangerous.
Wow.
He a gangster.
Whole time.
And these was the dudes I wanted to mimic. my own uncles and them, I wanted to mimic them. Because to sit down and have conversations with these dudes, and you can talk about anything. Religion, you can talk about, man, politics, you name it, man, language, art, name it, they can talk about it at length and know what they're talking about, right? I have a friend, man, that I really look up to. A guy he comes from out Cherry Hill, a guy by the name of Truck. Man, one of the smartest people, if not the smartest person that I've met in my entire life.
That's fine right there. Yeah.
And I was like, wow. His real name is Kerwin Ed. But man, this guy was smart. And I owe a lot to what I learned in prison to this guy.
Shout out to him, man.
Yes, because another thing that people don't know is that because my parents died when I was at such a young age, I dropped out of school. So when I went to prison, I could barely read and write. Right? So it was these kind of guys that say, hey, boy, let me show you another weapon. And started getting me into books. Man, I said, in my time, and I still feel like I did myself an injustice, I probably read about 2,500 books. And when I say read, not just read, I've studied them. Right? I've studied them. I've underlined, I've memorized all kind of stuff.
Always working.
I was always working.
That's for the people, yeah. That's for the people saying, like, did you learn anything?
Right. Did I learn anything? Yes, I did. Mm-hmm. And I've graduated, and I'll get into a few other degrees I've gotten, right? But we'll stop at me graduating for now.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but what really motivated me was a saying that I heard from Malcolm X, a quotation from Malcolm X. And he said, a message to the black man, he said that if you cannot afford, and mind you, I'm paraphrasing, he said, if you cannot afford to go to a higher institution of higher learning, he said, I strongly suggest that you go to prison. He said, because it is truly an institution of learning. Man, truer words was never spoken, because I've learned from guys in there. And I don't mean learn to harm like I was first taught. I mean really learn how to deal with people, right? People, they say, well, man, he was a blood. And I say, man, they say, man, well, he was a big homie in there, this and that, and they say this, and I say to them, I say, man, do you know the level of Dr. Philness you have to be to to deal with all the problems?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Because this one don't like this one for no apparent reason. This one don't like this one because they were beefing uptown. And it's all day. This one, man, the craziest thing that I've seen, hand to God, the craziest thing I've seen was two homies, two bloods, actually go in the cell and fight because one had more summer sausages in his hookup than the other one. And they fought for about 4 hours. I said, I said, I wish I knew a way to report y'all to America's Dumbest Criminals. I said, because y'all are mind baffling. But it's that type of stuff.
You must have had one sauce in his bowl. I was nigga had about 50.
Right, but it is to think that somebody's mind could be so small.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Sir.
It just like somebody's mind could be so small that would mean something.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Fucked up,
And
man.
and that's why I say people want to know, what did I learn? Okay, I learned patience. Right? I learned patience. I learned that somebody's problem is always bigger than mine. And my problems, other people had the same one, so the world is not picking on me. I learned that. You can go to the next question.
Before your next question, Nitty, when speaking of Marlo, one of your heroes and stuff, when this movie come out?
Yeah.
I would have to get a date again, but it is, if it's not out already, it should be. So I had to get the date and get back to y'all on that.
And what about his book?
I also had to get the date on that.
And that's Marlo from the Wire, y'all.
Right.
Coming soon. One other question, Nitty. Most people they want to know what you bring to the internet. I don't know why. But actually, you just explained everything that you got going for yourself. So.
Well, no, that's a fair question, and I'll answer if we had time. Now, I like to consider myself as a guidance, right? I see, man, so many of these dudes out here, they get killed at such a young age, and they really getting killed about nothing. Like, it's not worth that level. Like, if I'm mad at somebody, I can be mad at them without killing them, right? And I know a lot of them say, well, man, hold it. That's what you was doing. But also, that was my profession, right? I didn't have a bunch of personal shit going on, right? So, I say that, man, like, I don't know. I don't know, E. I really, well, do this. Answer the question again.
Actually, you had already answered during your previous what's called what you bring. I mean, you told me what you already accomplished while you was in prison and stuff. You talking about your degrees and
my fault. I lost train of thought. I'm sorry. I lost train of thought.
You already told us some of the stuff that you already did accomplish that you do bring to the West Coast.
But let me say this.
And then you bring your story. Of course, you bring your story to, you know what I mean, that need to be heard and stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's a blessing that you here to sit here and be having a conversation with me from the time that you had got and until you back on the street and stuff. Like we'll get into that later on another.
Let me say this. Let me say this to her, right? Let me say this. First and foremost, you're welcome, right? Because the things that I have said to you in my story, man, probably one day save your life, right? Because if you listen to any of this, you might sit there and say, boy, I ain't gonna do that because, man, this what Yo say he got Yo for. So you're welcome in advance. We're to the next one.
Yeah, man, they got some guys, Constant, Eugene Miller, 5015. They want you to do some audio work with Unique Mecca.
All right, well, first and foremost, I had to get with my manager on that. But if we got to renege out, I'll get back. I get with her and she'll get in contact with them, and she'll find out what's going on with it.
Okay, yes sir.
What's next? Well, I know you got some questions. What's up?
Oh yeah, man. That's all I was saying. Stuff that probably was already talked on to you or one. Well, I be to like you said when you was in that mode. Like I know when you first came in, like that feel, like how you get that big mode, how you feeling, how you had to really mold your brain until be like, man, I ain't gonna be here. I'm gonna get out. Like you know.
Well, when I got to that stage, I probably had about 7 years in. Because man, when you first go to prison, man, you so angry when you get that time. Man, you angry at the world, right? And I really want to talk to people on prison because I've been giving y'all the violence, right? I've been giving y'all this. And this is directed more towards the younger generation. All right. One of the things is that you will really find out who your friends are when you go to prison. I'm talking about your own family. You will find out who love you, and you will learn to say it's all right because you so many people will turn their backs on you, so to speak, that you will have to start making up excuses for them to stop yourself from hating them. That's how bad it'll get. That's one thing, right? And this is the stuff that people don't tell y'all about prison. For guys who had wives, baby mothers, and girlfriends that they love, man, when you get that kind of time, and they'll tell you, they'll say, and they mean well, man. They say, hey, I'm gonna be there for you. Man, I ain't going away. And because your world is fucking caved in on you, you looking for any life raft you can find to keep from going all the way under. Right? And so you'll believe it all the way until it's harder to catch her. Right? It's harder to catch her, and the least little things start to tick her off. You say on the phone, oh, turn into a big argument. Like, damn, where we get that? Yeah, right? Yeah. But that's how it goes. Until she get bold enough, and she get that energy, and the nigga start pressing down on her, saying, yo, you keep on saying, pay these bills, buy you this bag, get you these shoes, these boots, but you jumping at the phone every time, don't call. I ain't feeling that. One thing men had to understand about women, their first and foremost is stability. A woman wants to feel stable. She don't want to live day by day. And therefore, although she might love you, she's going with a better option. And so these are the things that I think that people are looking for their children and loved ones and stuff to find out. So, okay, here you are. One of the things you're going to experience that nigga telling you, hey, you don't tell him I will. Hey, boy, don't call. Fuck, you gonna be mad at the cell? It's still in concrete. Fuck you gonna do? And that's what makes a motherfucker in there. That's why I say everything I've been through, I would not change a thing. And the only thing that I would change is the people's lives that I know I destroyed in that time. Because that, believe it or not, I'm truly remorseful for. And I remember my publicist asked me, she said, because she heard me on another interview, and she said, you said that, and I know you meant that. I said, why? I said, because a lot of these guys had kids. And I don't know what I robbed their kid for. Now, and they say, well, that's cold. I said, no. I said, it's not cold because I've never done anything to a civilian. See what I'm saying? It's always been me and a motherfucker who claimed to have been like me. Right? So, and I had to explain that. But you go into the next question. What's the next one? I like how you go.
Let's go back to what's called Nitty. Like let's go back to your prison time. Your exact time. How much time that you had when you first stepped 1 day, 1 foot in the penitentiary? What was your sentence?
I had double natural life plus 140 years.
What?
I had no, without any possibility of parole or any of it.
So you already went in. So you went in prison already on a mental, like there's a possibility you never coming back home.
I went in there because and that's how I looked at it, because that is not only to the general public that has to be seen as an outrageous sentence, because I can only live for one life, right? But it's like when you hear that and say, okay, are you trying to appease the family? Because, and this is no disrespect to anyone who has ever lost a loved one, right? By gun violence or violence, period, right? But you're not bringing that person back. So you saying, hey, I'm going to give you all this time. This is Maryland. And they don't give no whole bunch of parole to lifers. Believe that. So even if they have parole, they're not going nowhere. And guess who's still footing the bill? The taxpayers. I guess they don't know that. The taxpayers they foot the bill before they had these old, decrepit men and women in there on their last leg in prison. And because somebody say, man, you had life. And so the taxpayers foot this bill.
I can imagine. It's just saying like
that's crazy.
You said you had 3 consecutive.
No, I had double natural life plus 148.
And I'm just saying like when I seen papers on, I had charged papers at one point in time that said like I was 15 on 16 at a temp, and me seeing that, I just knew how I felt. Like I wasn't never fuck going on. It was just crazy. So I just imagine like what you was even thinking for real, man. Like that shit is crazy.
Like, yo,
I want with that. I don't know.
I showed even for the picture of me, right? When I first went to prison, and I asked the camera girl at the time. I said, how old you think I was on that picture? And she said like 14. And that's how I looked. I looked like I was 14. I was 20. I just turned 22. Right? But I looked like I was 14. I didn't even have hair on my face. Hair wouldn't grow on my face yet. Right? And that's why that's why, like I said, but I went in there with the attitude, because you hear so many horror stories about the penitentiary. And so you go in there with that mindset, because it was the same mindset that I was taught. Say, yo, when you go on a mission, man, you go on a mission with the mindset of you will not be denied. You will not fail at that mission, and the only way you're going to fail at that mission is death. And that's how I went in there. One day, I thought I was the baddest nigga in there, because like I said, a lot of these dudes my heroes, so I know they wasn't no chumps, right? So, but it's you know, you go through that, you know, being in there at such a young age, and it really made me think back, because, and I'm glad, I'm not glad that I didn't get a chance to raise my son, but I'm glad that the mindset I had back then, I wanted my son to be just like me, and I'm glad I didn't back then, because I'm like, damn, because if he'd have got in this game, my son, man, would fuck around, lost his life, or been in the penitentiary for life, and it'd been my fault, because I bred him to do that, just like I was. But that was the only way I knew how to protect him if I wasn't around. So that's much of the reason why I did that.
So you don't feel that way now, though?
No. I'm proud of my son. My son is a good guy, and he's a family guy.
I love it, man. I love this, man. I love it, man. I love everything about it, man. Yeah, man. That's all we gonna give y'all this time, man. But appreciate you having your time and everything, and sharing your story with everybody, man. Let them know there's still real ones out here that's still putting it down out here, holding it down, and still here for the youth, for giving them knowledge and stuff like that, man.
Right.
For real. There's always, you can change. You know, yeah.
Well,
24 hours.
I'm just hoping people stay tuned, especially the some of the doubters, because I like how my story, and I can't say ends, because I haven't told it all yet, right? You know, I haven't lived my best days yet, so I just say stay tuned to watch this thing unfold.
You need to ask about when your movie coming out. They learn about my brother movie.
Well,
Hey, bro, your movie need to come out soon,
They,
man. I'm telling you.
I've been talking
Seriously.
to people now, and I've been talking to some people of New York, and they wanna talk to me about that. I won't put the name out there yet, but it's gonna be kind of based like The Wire was,
Okay.
right? And when they talking to me about that, so it's gonna be kind of based like that, and they're gonna have, and the way I think it's slick too, they're gonna have like some of the older characters, like you playing some of the older characters,
Yeah.
but with some of the newer characters that's, you know, name this
Yeah,
power, this
yeah,
there, this
yeah.
there, bringing money, this one that, and go ahead them and see how all them would have had been together, how all them would have lasted, and this and that, and everybody would have got money. I think it's gonna be
Oh,
good.
that'll be good, man.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good.
I love
So,
it. More love. We in here, baby. Yes, sir.
man.
All right, y'all. That's all we have for now. Thanks for watching YouTube TV. Till the next time. Peace. God bless everybody. Thanks for
sir.
the support. Remember, hit that like button, comment, subscribe to the
And
channel,
share.
and share. God bless everybody.